Idris, the prominent professor at Proclamation News and Gatherence. Thank you ever so much coming through. I'm here to give you some guidance to better your well-being, to better your well-being, to better your career. I just want to help guide you to, like you might be doing manual work at the moment, deteriorating your health. You can change direction, do adult learning. It's help through Peabody, Sure Trust. Now, Peabody actually is help with housing allocations. If you're struggling for housing allocations, Peabody provides you with the help. Sure Trust is helping disabled people back into work, growing your confidence, getting all the cognitive skills you need to get into the workplace you need of your desire. Maybe you want to become an administrator. It's fund all different skills that you need. ECDL. There's all different courses you can do for Sure Trust. It's worth giving Sure Trust a ring or speaking with your work coach, perhaps. If any of you are suffering mental health or just having a break from work, but you want to change direction to better suit your needs, your health, then Sure Trust is the place to look. Amu Reza, well, hello, sir. How are you doing? Thank you for coming through. Sorry, I didn't acknowledge everyone coming in now. Malavoy, Billy, Gray, Opal, Eric, Katie, RG, Cheryl, Leslie, Irene, Marnie, Sarah, and Eric is back in the building. Thank you all so much for joining my cast box with Proclamation News and Gatherence. Just giving people some guidance to help them better their aspirations. Maybe they're sick of their full-time manual job. They want to do something a bit more considerate for their wealth and their health. Maybe work in an office 9 till 5, administration. Anything in admin, you can do anything in the office. I don't know if any of you good guys are good at maths. There's all sorts of course you can do for Sure Trust, such as even do education and literacy, working with children, health and social care, social justice and democracy. Let's see what this is. I'm just going to click on it to give you some guidance, guys. Chair of Trustees, Charity Maximum for Impact for its beneficiaries. Ensure that the board operates within its charitable objectives and provides a clear strategic direction for charity. Ensure the board regularly reviews major risks and associated opportunities and certifies itself that the system are in place to take advantage of opportunities and manage and mitigate the risks. Enterprise Advisor. You will be matched to a local school, FE college, PRU or special school, and will meet with their career leader on a termly basis. This London Enterprise. Social media expert students. Maybe you want to get into social media experts. Are you a student of marketing or digital marketing or a graduate looking to develop your online marketing skills? Do you love social media? Enjoy telling stories with photographs, videos and written word? Are you in the northwest London area, close to or living in Willesden Green? There you go. There's so many different digital advice, volunteer, remote working from home, interview members of public by telephone and other remote media, letting the client explain their inquiry and help the client set their priorities. That is an organisation, City Advice Haringey Haringey's London again. Fundraising volunteer. Explore different ways of fundraising to help local citizens advice obtain money, either for specific things or ongoing running costs of local citizen advice. Manager, personal assistant. We are searching for PA to support in a busy, dynamic organisation. We are searching for organised and administrative individual to work directly alongside the manager to support in the work that they do to allow the charity to grow and develop. This is Children's Voices, giving you loads of ideas. It's worth having a little through this. If any of you want to change, this is actually the Mayor of London. Oh, it is the Shore Trust Group. The Mayor of London has got his name all over it, which is sad it can't. But yeah, have a little look. If you want to improve your lifestyle, improve your cognitive skills, and you want to get into business, that is most definitely the way forward. We're also crying out for medical staff. Let me rephrase that. Us adults, if you've got daughters or sons, we need doctors, nurses. Guide your children into those academics. Really, really, really. We think we're all getting older. Sooner or later, we're going to need medical help. And we're drying out of medical helpers. We need to start pushing our children, the youth of today, rather than into a bad, in the wrong sort of right, in the wrong direction. It's putting them into a healthy lifestyle, healthy living of saving one another. Saving mainly people from the market society. Absolutely, people that do boxing, horse riding, all them sort of silly things. Really? Come on, we need to campaign for medical staff. Really, really need to start campaigning for medical staff more than anything. Through the youth today, through the schools, through the high schools, through university, we need to try and edge these kids towards medical staff. We are getting medical staff from overseas, people that want to come here and become a doctor or a nurse. We need more surgeons from our own homegrown. Doesn't matter what your religion is. Doesn't matter where your culture is. As long as if you're in England, rather than getting homegrown people from across the seas to come over here and do it, why don't we get some of our homegrown? Doesn't matter what culture, doesn't matter what race. Get in there, do the education. Let's build up back better. Absolutely. If I don't know if any of you guys fancy doing some campaigning on your Instagram, your Twitter, your Facebook. Especially Facebook's really good. You can go tagging around schools, universities, saying things that you need. Make a little try and get people to support a petition, perhaps, and get right into local schools. We need more medical staff. Can the schools try and edge the kids into it? Putting signs up in newspaper articles. I don't know if we get any real life journalists come through and listen in sometimes, but that could be an idea. It could be an idea, couldn't it? Troubleshooting ideas. If any people that are writing newspapers, writing journals, please do give that a shout out. We need more medical staff. We're always saying we need more soldiers to go to war, but why don't we get medical staff? More medical staff, more medical staff. Save our elders, save ourselves, save our children. If any car accidents, loads and loads of car accidents are reported every single day of the week. That's without knife crime, any other criminology, someone getting beaten up here, left, right, and centre, always in their journalism, in the broadsheet and tabloid newspaper. It's surgical, thoughtful process. It's to outline car incidents, all the criminology throughout the UK. Yes, I do it sporadically. No, I don't. I sometimes do it sporadically. Yeah, fair enough, because I am up to the thick of it, my feet, up to my ears in education. Plus, I need a break away from the screen sometimes. Too much radiation of the internet can overspill my brain. I need a break. Anyway, citizen advice. Citizen advice can give you consumer rights, help you back to work as well. Rights at work. Coronavirus. If you're worried about working, what risks can you take with coronavirus? If you're, your family that or newborn baby at home, and you could be at risk of bringing COVID into your home while your wife is pregnant or your girlfriend or whatever. Kind advice: getting benefits if you're self-isolating. Benefits introduction: help on low income, sick or disabled peoples and carers. Universal credit, child benefit, support for mortgage interest. Check if benefit caps applies on you. Consumer rights. Yes, consumer rights. Return faulty good. Problem with used car. Report and trading standards. Contact consumer helpline if you want a refund because of coronavirus. If you buy seconds, consumer rights. Yeah, you want to get some. I'll give you the rundown. Now, you buy a second-hand phone from one of those phone shops or computer shops. You get a laptop or phone. You should have free. I think it's 3 months warranty, at least 3 months warranty from purchase date. And if it comes, you get it and it's broken, and you found out in the first day something's not working, one of the apps on the phone not working properly, or the speaker's not working, you should theoretically be able to get a refund. If not, go on Citizens Advice rather than going in Citizens Advice, wasting your time queuing up. Report it to trading standards. Return on faulty goods as well, tells you all that there. I'm going to click on it, see if it says anything, but I think it's 3 months. Up to 3 months, I'm sure of it. If something's wrong with an item you bought, you may be entitled to a refund, repair or replacement. It doesn't matter whether you bought the item new or second-hand, you still have rights. You have legal rights if the item you bought is broken or damaged, not of satisfactory quality, unusable, not fit for purpose, not what was advertised, or does not match seller's description. You won't have any legal rights if it was damaged by wear and tear, an accident or misuse. You knew about the fault before you bought the item. You just changed your mind. So there you go. Also, there's a different tool to use if you have a problem with a used car. See, when you buy second-hand cars, if you haven't over-checked the car and you found something faulty after, it's different. It's a different text, but it's a total different ball game, isn't it? You bought the car was seen, you took it for a test drive, but then later on there's an oil leak in the pipe. I said I want money back. It doesn't work the same. It doesn't work in exactly the same way. Believe me. It's also it's report fake or counterfeit goods, which does happen when you're buying clothes or whatever, or mobile phone that turns out to be fake. You can report it. Housing tells you about housing, renting privately, renting from the council or housing association, homelessness, repairs in rented housing, renting a home, mortgage problems, discrimination in housing. You feel like you get discrimination in housing, you're not getting looked after through the qualities, like you're married perhaps with your partner. You're married with your partner and you've been kicked out on the street. She gets put in a lovely, beautiful house for the children and you get put out on the street. That's when you need to start discrimination in housing. I believe they should start supporting equalities straight through the middle. As long as you've got a good story to back it up, you should be there giving that shout out for inequalities. Yeah, not getting supported. You're not getting supported 50-50 down the middle by the government. Absolutely not. Living together, marriage and civil partner. How to separate, sort out money, making this family arrangement, making arrangements about your children. If you were living together, death and wills, gender, violence, children, young people, making a will. Complain about social care services. What does it mean to have power of attorney? I'm going to make a will in a little while. Law and courts, legal system, claiming compensation for personal injury, discrimination, parking tickets, your civil rights. Immigration, I'm going to just go through immigration. Immigration is applying to the EU settlement scheme. Get British citizenship. Get a visa for your spouse or partner. Getting a visa for family and friends. Stay in the UK after divorce. If you overstay your visa or leave, if you're in the UK illegally, after you get refugee status. A lot of these refugees are coming if they're opting to work as a professional. They usually keep them in anyway. I am not one to be fascist towards their commitment. If they're here to work, so be it. Let them go to work, because there's many English people that don't want to go to work nowadays. Luxury student complex in Glasgow, unfinished and filthy. A luxury student accommodation complex in Glasgow has branded a filthy and unfinished building site. The Cathedral Street property named Bridal Works is billed as having a range of top-class amenities, including a gym and rooftop terrace. But the students have complained to provider Noble Student as they felt they were missold over conditions. The firm said the pandemic had affected constructions and it was disappointed to hear the students' experiences. Students have shared photos of the building interior with BBC Scotland showing unfinished work. Oh my goodness. One image shows the toilet doors that still had to be hung. In a letter by BBC 38 international students detail a list of complaints including rooms covered in dust from ongoing construction work, holes in ceilings and floors and exposed wiring, unfinished communal areas, flood and leaks, and upfront rent costs paid for rooms that aren't complete. One postgraduate student who asked to remain anonymous told BBC Scotland she arrived in the country from abroad last month. The 22-year-old said she found accommodation by the University of Strathclyde website. BBC Scotland found links to the property from the University Student Association site. She paid more than $10,000 upfront for a year to stay at Bridal Works. That's shocking. Students complained of dust from construction covering rooms. 4 days after she made the payment, however, the company informed her that the room was still under construction, a fortnight before she was due to move in mid-September. She said, "I was told by a couple of other international students it would be difficult to secure a place in the city this year due to ongoing housing shortage and the UN conference. However, I managed to be linked to Bridal Works. There was never any mention online of the phone calls or in any correspondence with Noble Student that it was still under construction until after I paid my rent. I felt it was incredibly misleading as my parents and I were under the impression it was finished." You can't feel for that student. You think, you imagine you're sending your child to Nigeria or wherever, Africa, to go university. You want them to get out of England so they can get out of the country and start fresh, away from friends and all that. You need your child to go abroad to study. You put them in accommodation, there's building works going on. Your child's ringing up crying, "I've got my room full of dust. All my work is covered in dust. My computer's covered in dust. My clothes are covered in dust." You would be absolutely fuming at the bit for your child. That is horrific. Absolutely horrific. How the luxury student accommodation in Glasgow city centre is advertised. Noble Student offered to reimburse rent costs for days missed at a property and accommodate students in hotels in Glasgow. However, the student said she was told she would live on a lower floor until her room was ready. What an absolute nightmare. She added, "I arrived in Scotland and then moved into what was evidently a construction site. My room just gets coated with dirt. I can only open my window at night and have to vacuum 3 times a day to manage dust from interval construction. Not how I want to spend my time. My room just gets coated with dirt. I can only open my window at night and have to vacuum 3 times a day to manage the dust from internal construction. Not how I want to spend my time." That can't be good for a respiratory system. Go and sleep at night, you're getting dust clogged up your nose. That is not good. That is not good at all. I bet all the construction workers are thinking, annoying little brats. They're spoiled little brats, They're only coming here to get a profession which they could be doing themselves rather than being, it's not her fault, the student's fault at the end of the day. The student is a client. A student is a client that should be looking after. She's hiring part of the occupation of a room. They should look after her. Absolutely. That's why she's getting a hotel. What was advertised was a space that has amenities where you can peacefully study in your room. But what we got is a place full of hazards and noise. It was opposite of peaceful. I've counted 40 fire alarms since I moved in last month, sometimes in the middle of the night. And those are not just ones I am home for. Wow. 20 floor development advertising 422 rooms starting from 238 per week. On its website, Noble students said you won't have to splash on extra gym memberships or laundry fees, making it much more affordable for student life. All bills are also including your rent, so you can set your budget for a month without having to worry about any unpleasant surprises. Radiator fell off. Radiator fell off. Oh my goodness, how horrific. BBC Scotland understands issues have been shared in a WhatsApp group promising 81 students. I cannot believe what I am reading. In written statement, also including a letter of complaint, one student said, when I moved in, my room was extremely dirty with dirty water hand marks on my banister and door frames. When I wiped down the inside of my cupboards, the cloth I used turned black. I've only gotten hot water after a week of staying here, and when I first moved in, my radiator fell off the wall. Not to mention, my sprinkler cover fell off my ceiling the other day with no warning. My friend's room, literal holes in the flooring. Another student wrote that none of the amenities advertised by Noble student had been provided apart from my gym, where they said half the machines were not working. They also said 1 out of 4 lifts in the building can be used by tenants, as the rest are being used by construction crew. Noble student, which runs over sites in Edinburgh, Belfast and Sheffield, said it is committed to delivering exceptional student experiences. In a statement, it said, we are naturally disappointed to hear of any resident experience that falls short of that. The COVID-19 pandemic has undoubtedly presented significant challenges our operations given 3 months construction shutdown, the universal obstacle experienced by companies working in different capacities across the real estate industry. It is our goal to always ensure on-time delivery of products to residents, and given this significant challenge we have faced, we have had to accelerate this process to the best of our ability. It added, we greatly appreciate the patience of our residents as we navigate these challenges and sympathise with the disruptions that have endured over the last several weeks. Out of respect for the privacy of the entire community, residents and staff alike, we cannot comment publicly on more specific matters concerning our residents. I know what it's like, they're up against it. Come on, this COVID, everyone's up against it. COVID, everyone was just wanting to be furloughed off work at the end of the day. COVID was a mistake for people to go, I'm sick, I've got a cold, that's COVID, I'm off. Everyone was doing it. The whole world was doing it. It's still hard now to get back to reality. Get back into courts, get back into medical purposes. You need medical staff, you need doctor's appointments. You can't get through. You can't get an appointment. It's horrific. I'll do that in my friend. Our website links to housing guide created by Strath Union, which lists of all the major private student accommodation providers in Glasgow, but does not make any recommendations or endorse any provider. A state on the guide, spokesman said, we are concerned to hear about these issues. The Strath Union Advice Hub and the university are working together to support students who experience a range of issues. We would advise any student who is having difficulties with private accommodation to contact university support services for advice and support. We can only be thankful, though. I mean, putting students in an unfinished building is ludicrous, but the lovely fitted accommodation is going to look wonderful once finished. It's going to be absolutely perfect for students. It does look, the outlook on the building is going to look absolutely splendid. Once it's fully done and fully established, these students do have some luxury apartments, but that does look, ridiculous. I was part of infrastructure many moons ago when I was able. Obviously, deterioration has put my manual life on the back burner for the rest of my life. Simple as that. Simple as that. Oh. What's happened? Wait, get back in the box. To land there. Boris Johnson's hilarious election advert. We're going to listen to that.
Hey Boris, you alright?
I'm good, how are you?
What's been on your mind today?
Well, I can't hide it from you. I've been thinking a bit about this general election campaign.
How do you typically start your day?
I tend to get up pretty early and then I go down and take the dog for a walk, and dog does his business and so on. So that's my start to the day.
And what's the most surprising thing you found about being PM?
I was pretty incredulous the other day when I found out I couldn't actually get a Thai curry to deliver to number 10 because of the security problems. The security there was too tight.
And on that subject, fish and chips or a Sunday roast?
I think fish and chips on a cold night on the beach, you can't beat it.
Why are we having this election?
We're having this election because basically the whole political system is paralysed.
It's so good.
We have a fantastic Brexit deal that we did. Nobody said we could do it, but we did. And then Parliament refused to knock it through, so that we're stuck in the EU when the people voted to leave. So we need to have an election.
This one divides opinion, but Marmite, yes or no?
Marmite, yes.
What do you think are the biggest challenges facing our country?
Look, this is an amazing country. It's going gangbusters in so many ways. We lead the world in so many technologies, but our political system is blocked at the moment. And that's the thing that we need to address. We need to get a new government, a new majority government, and I hope a conservative government, and move this thing on.
Now, I know you're a very busy man, but when was the last time you cooked and what did you make?
How are you? Nice to see you. The last time I cooked was last night, and I made steak and oven chips, which were very good.
What's your favourite band?
Look, this is either the Clash or it's the Rolling Stones, and mainly I listen to the Rolling Stones like this, so you can make of that what you will.
What would you say to someone who's wondering who to vote for at this election?
I would say it is a very, very simple choice. You can either go with Jeremy Corbyn and the Labour Party and be in no doubt that if you vote for any other of the minor parties, you will end up with a coalition of chaos with Jeremy Corbyn at the lead, at the head. And that will not only be an economic catastrophe for this country, it will also be a political disaster, because their programme, would you believe it, is for another Brexit referendum, next year, spend the whole of the next year in a referendum on Brexit, a referendum on Scotland, to say nothing of the economic catastrophe involved in a Corbyn-led socialist, semi-Marxist Labour government. Or you can go with us, get Brexit done with our deal, which is ready to go, oven ready, slam it in the microwave, it's there. Get it done in days, and take the country forward. We're investing massively in the NHS, the biggest investment for a generation, massively in schools, in policing, 20,000 police we're putting out on the streets of this country. We're going to be doing a huge infrastructure revolution for the whole of the UK, gigabit broadband across the whole of the UK. And we can pay for all that because we're the party that understands the importance of a dynamic market economy. So that's my message. Vote for us. Vote for a compassionate, one-nation, conservative government that understands the symmetry between a free market economy and great public services. Let's get Brexit done and unleash the potential of this whole country. See you later.
Wow. Wow, absolutely phenomenal, hey? Anyway, we got May the 5th election. Who are you guys going to vote? Come on, it's been generations upon generations a tradition. My goodness. It's been generations and generations a traditional government, conservative. They've been there from the day dot. Neoliberalism government. You must appreciate through COVID you've been furloughed off, you've been looked after. Apparently taxes are going to go up on food and energy in a supermarket. You're coming up to Christmas, you know it's like there's everything seems to be just ripped off the shelves. Panic buyers. It's winter. I'm coming out in the cold. It's going to be low shortage on food as per usual. Same as last year before. It's just Christmas time is ludicrous in the shops. I don't know why there's so many people just running out to shops for panic buying. Buy stuff online. Make it easier. Don't go out panic buying just for the sake of Christmas. My goodness. Shop online. Save expense. You don't have to go mad on presents. Do you know what? The only love that you can give is from your heart, not a present. Present doesn't warrant anything. Doesn't mean you love someone more. It's your heart that evolves love. Anyway, let's get through COVID. New parents still struggling to access support. MP says. New parents are struggling to access health and family support services for their children a year and a half after the COVID pandemic started, MPs say. A Commons Petition Committee report called on the government to urgently put support in place for parents who missed out during lockdown. The committee urged the government to publish a dedicated COVID-19 recovery strategy for new parents. The government says it recognises the challenges and has increased support. The report, the second on the issue from the committee, found the COVID-19 pandemic continues to have significant impact on new parents, access to support services and childcare availability. The report is called Impact of COVID-19 on New Parents. 1 year on. It said then rather than implementing the committee's recommendations from its first report a year ago, the government refused to act on nearly all of them. Committee Chairman Catherine McKinnell said, "We have continued to receive petitions highlighting the difficulties new parents and the services they rely on during the vital early months of their child's life have continued to face over the last year. It would be an absolute catastrophe for some child to die because they can't get medical treatment they need. We need to start pulling the plug and getting some medical staff in that can do the appropriate job. It is clear that the impact of the pandemic is still being felt. The government must now reconsider its response and urgently take action to put in place support." She said it was particularly concerning that no extra funds have been made available to help new parents with mental health issues. She added it has been incredibly valuable to hear that from petitioners and experts on this subject, and the committee will continue to challenge the government to bring forward the changes we have concluded need to be made. The committee report calls for extra funding and resources to allow catch-up mental health support for new parents and to boost parental mental health services. Funding for local authorities to arrange in-person visits to new parents by councils, voluntary organisations or health visiting staff by the end of the year. A review of monitoring and enforcement activity relating to employers' health and safety obligations to pregnant women. We do need some close contact, to just help mental health. I do strongly advise, it might help with mental health, just going to a local church, trying to join in with services, just getting some interaction or conversation outside. I don't think they're doing coffee at the moment, but if you take your own cup, flask mug or whatever, they will serve you a coffee and you can have a chat and natter outside the building after church service and before you go in. That's what a lot of mothers need, that interaction, the conversation with other people in the community who are struggling the same, and how do you get through your day? That sort of conversation is what needs to be had and said. So it help you through compassion, speaking with one another, going about your day. The vast majority of respondents, 93%, said they have not been able to access crucial baby and toddler groups over the past year. and 3/4 said they had not been able to find childcare they could afford. Stacey, a mum from Kent, struggled when health visitor appointments for her newborn baby were mainly held online during lockdown. I do feel for her, but they do need the support. She had one appointment on the phone, but says that level of support, I think it's severely diminished because you can't physically be there. What if it then leads to problems? Speaking to BBC Newsbeat, she said, all of that on top of new mum stress and figuring out this baby who you thought you knew at every step changes. This was very difficult. Stacey really thinks there should be even more support for young mums, including seminars online to watch if there is a problem, but says they're still not widely available. It's like they haven't learned from the past 18 months how difficult it is. Is anyone else facing these provocations as, a mother yourself or father? You need this medical extra support. No, that having a young child, you need to get out. You need to be able to socialise. But I'm just giving you some ideas. And I know it's not church is not for everybody, but it's a community. You can have a conversation. You can go there and have a conversation outside the building. I feel set up for the week when I go to church. Every single week, I feel set up for the week. I come out refreshed, and I'll come back out, and I'll get on my radio with new ideas, new experiences that I've received through the godly spirit of my Catholicism or authoritarian ways. How I like to address my Castbox and YouTube. Rose Bragg, Director of Charities Maternity Action, commented, the situation for new and expectant mothers is really quite desperate in the aftermath of COVID. It is clear from the Petitions Committee reporting that the group has been disproportionately affected by the fallout from the pandemic, but the government has consistently failed to act. Our helplines have struggled to cope with the volume of calls from pregnant women and new mothers facing unfair redundancies as maternity discrimination continues to increase sharply. Mental health support, I think Turn to Us is one. Call the Samaritans, NHS, there should be the NHS helpline for mental health. I don't know what to suggest. Really don't know what to suggest when it comes to mothers with children. It's a hard situation for mothers with children. What can they do to get in a socialising habit? They can't get the medical staff. Their mental health is deteriorating. Worrying about their child is going to get the necessary support it needs. What can they do? What can they do irreversibly to make them feel satisfied? Can we promise them the service that they should be getting? That is the question. I am not the person to answer that question. State and private schools cash gap doubles study. Do you find that there's not enough support through the sociological world of the state schools and private schools? Can a child in a state school make it through to university, such as kids within a private school? They've got that cash, they've got the backup of cash incentive to get them straight into university fees. There are ways and means about getting into university, but I am, again, not the person to tell you how to go about doing it. But I know how to go about doing it because I'm in there myself, doing that old learning. I really, really worked hard for what I had to get. I've been through the war terrain of the world. I fought in Nam, Birmingham.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much. Good evening, Copper Box. Good evening, everyone. Are you? Thank you all very much. Wow, what an enormous plan. Are you ready for the contest ahead? Are you pumped up? Are you energized and motivated? Well, we're gonna. I sincerely hope so. I sincerely hope so, everybody. I sincerely hope so because we have a
Get
national
Brexit
duty,
done.
a national duty between now and 10 o'clock tomorrow night to find every vote we can to save our country from disaster. Because we all know what happened 2 years ago. We know that we cannot trust the opinion polls. And we know that this contest is tight and getting tighter. And tomorrow, the choice for our amazing country could not be starker. Indeed, I can't remember an election in my political lifetime when there has been such a yawning chasm between the two possible futures for this country. We can choose to go forward with a one-nation Conservative government, end the deadlock, lift the clouds, launch ourselves towards a brighter future for the whole country, or else we can remain stuck in neutral, paralysed, lost in years more of deadlock, defeatism, division, and despair caused by what's been caused by. Well, there's only one mathematical alternative, isn't there, to a working majority Conservative government? You know what it is? You know what it is? It's a hung parliament, another hung parliament. That's what we could face on Friday. That's the reality, isn't it? The pollsters are saying it. A hung parliament, a Corbyn-Sturgeon coalition. And a vote for any other party, but the Conservative Party, will produce that result, or would encourage that result. That's the iron logic of the situation. And that would be an economic disaster for this country. An economic disaster. Look at the irresponsibility of the pledges of Jeremy Corbyn and John McDonnell. John McDonnell, don't forget, is the guy who's so left wing, so far out there. You know, he was sacked by Ken Livingstone for forging a budget in the GLC. They would raise spending to such extraordinary levels. They put up taxes for ordinary people. Average taxpayer to pay £2,400 more in tax. People on only £20,000 a year expect to pay £1,000 more in tax. Interest rates would go up as the markets mark down our ability to repay our debt. People's mortgages would suffer. That is the reality of what Corbyn and McDonnell would offer. They want to bring back exchange control to try and limit the damage. I mean, can you imagine? Exchange control. They've got rid of exchange controls in Angola. I mean, they still have them in Venezuela, of course, but that is the kind of economics we could expect. And it would be an economic disaster. It would be a political disaster, my friends, because this is an incredible country, our amazing country, second biggest contributor to NATO, a country that is admired, that is loved around the world, a country that guarantees the security not just of the people in this country, but helps through our alliances to guarantee the security of people across the world. Across the world, that's what the UK does. And imagine the reaction. I can tell you the reaction. If our incredible country, fifth biggest economy in the world, was led by a Hamas-backing, IRA-supporting, anti-Semitism condoning appeaser of the Kremlin. Because that's what he is. That's what he is. And don't you just have to listen to what John Ashworth, his shadow spokesman.
By the way, ladies and gents, I like listening to old Boris Johnson when he's in there with Jeremy Corbyn, 2019. That 2019 just crossing into Christmas. Jeremy Corbyn said ban fox hunting. I fully understand, but what a day to say just before Christmas was coming, when everyone's going to eat every single meat under the mistletoe. But what a day to come out of it. He's a vegan anyway, so he doesn't really, he doesn't want no one to eat any kind of meat. I should imagine. What a ludicrous thing to come out of.
He said that he would be a risk to national security, and I'm afraid I cannot dissent from that view. And it would be a political disaster, of course, because he would be in coalition. Corbyn would be in coalition with Nicola Sturgeon. And what price would she demand for her support? We know what it would be. It would be another referendum on Scotland, when the people of Scotland were promised in 2014 that this was a once-in-a-generation event. And can you imagine anything like it? Can you imagine?
Yes, that referendum after referendum, SNP made the Brexit hard to deliver. It was so frustrating. I remember back in 2019, I was visiting Westminster. I was there. Do you remember when President Trump? I don't know if it was the early start of 2020. No, it wasn't. Yes, it was early start of 2020. President Trump went to visit Westminster. Then he went to the Queen, Buckinghamshire Palace, and then they went to their little home in apartment in Wales, I believe. As she arrived back, I see her land in a helicopter outside Buckinghamshire Palace. What a phenomenal day I had. Obviously, Boris Johnson I think that's when he just getting elected for Prime Minister. And I went into Westminster and then went to Buckinghamshire Palace. I've got some memorabilia from that day. I bought a Big Ben pencil. I'm an artist. I like, it's a nice keepsake gift. And I've got a Buckinghamshire Palace Queen, like a Queen, the crown, Queen's crown pen. It's like red velvet on the pencil. It is, little gifts like that are so, like, to me, they're phenomenal. Little gifts like that are phenomenal. They're cheap, but it make me cheerful, and it's something I'll keepsake for many, many years. I'm a peculiar guy. I've got peculiar interests, and I'll make things out of clay as well. Hopefully, in years to come, they could be worth something. I might hopefully make something of myself one day. I don't know, but I'm trying my hardest. That's the main thing. Anyway, state and private schools, cash gap, double study. Let's talk about what we know about state and private schools. People that pay for their private schools helps them get a head start in education, doesn't it? Makes them like a better class from a state school. So it's unfair, isn't it? Inequalities in that sense. There's children in a state school that work so hard, don't get their grades dismissed. I don't know why. Maybe you wasn't liked as a kid. Maybe you got yourself in too much trouble throughout break or whatever. My circumstances, I was in some top classes, and I started to do sport, and I started to meet the naughty kids throughout sport, and that influenced some of my education. But I was still a bright kid. So I come out of school, done ICT, then I left secondary school, tried to join the Royal Marines, but realised my secondary suburb Raynaud's disease, which kept me from most things I wanted to do, to be fair. I didn't have no strength in my hands to do the monkey bars. Furthermore, I moved on to doing, I got my head kicked. It took by the time I turned 18, I did start work from about the age 15, like part-time in a chip shop, and working just, like helping my uncle out as work experience when I was 15 up until about the age of 26, I'd say. I don't know. But, yeah. And I done, when I was 18, I died, well, I didn't say died 3 times. I got beaten up severely by about 15 blokes, supposedly. That's what I got told by my friends, an ambulance service, whatnot. I've had my whole face rebuilt. And yeah, I went on to, when I was 21, 2 years of being, getting back on my feet from that recovery of that kicking, 2 years getting back on my feet. I've premeditated, done a gym instructors course, done a nutrition course, circuit trainers course. Yeah, it's just, it's been a long tour of life. I just want to try and break and get somewhere with my life, Obviously, I've been a machine driver, excavator, 360, driving up to about 25 tonne is the biggest machine excavator I've ever driven. But, I've been up and down the country doing different things. I've still had a bit of a life, but I want to get something involved, especially within the political debate. When I'm confident, you see the best of me on my radio shows. When I'm on a subject like this, especially in a sociological society of poor society, like when your mum and dad's first have you as a child, maybe possibly in a council estate, you got broken families with alcoholics, narcotic abusers. You go to the park as a young child, you start messing around with kids, you start noticing the difference in the influence of parenting, having a part on the children's attitude, your friends' attitude. You're playing football like a normal game of football, you've got a kid booting in the back of the legs. I mean, who teaches a kid to boot someone in the back of the legs? Then you retaliate. You've been antagonised. Someone's kicked you in the Achilles. So, yeah, that's exactly what it's like. A private school, it doesn't make no difference. Private school, you're still going to get attitude kids thinking they're better than everyone else. Because we used to play, we was really good at sports when I went to. It was more of a private school than my primary school. To be fair, it was more of a private school. I think I was the only one that come. Well, we owned a house in the end, but I was the only one that started off with was in a council development house. It was then bought by my parents. Yeah, I went to Canal School. We were really, really good at sport. Yeah, we did play all these other schools, state schools, and you did notice the difference in just children's well-being, the way they acted. But it's not a state of where we should single out equalities and make them a different class. It's not fair, because some are work hard, some want to make it in life, same as these bright kids in private schools. There's some bad ones in private schools as well, believe me. You see them in universities, had all their uni paid for their parents. They're out most nights in a pub drinking, taking narcotics more than likely. The gap between private school fee and state school per pupil spend in England has more than doubled over the past decade. The Institute for Fiscal Studies says that average fees of $13,600 are more than 90% higher than $7,100 spent on state school pupils in 2020 to 21, compared with a gap of 39% in 2009-2010. For sixth formers, fees are about 3 times higher than per student funding. The government says schools are having the biggest funding uplift in a decade. Whilst private schools' fees have grown by more than 20% above inflation since 2009-2010, state schools per pupil spending has fallen by 9% in real terms. A gap in the resource levels is probably even larger if the IFS researcher says, as the figures do not include other forms of income for private schools, such as account investments and endowments or gifts. Long-standing concerns about inequalities between private and state school pupils, which have come into sharp focus during the pandemic, will not begin to easily address while the sectors enjoy such different levels of resourcing. Luke Sarbetti said, that's what I said, the inequalities between state and private schools, it should be in an equal fact. They do try and make it supported down the middle. And they're supposed to be getting better with the equalities, as you know. I don't know what's going on behind closed doors, if they're going to make a change. They should be. Labour's shadow education secretary, Kate Green, said school budgets have been hammered over the last decade, which is holding children back. As state school class sizes have soared and enriching activities, art, sport, music, drama, have been cut back. The gap with private schools has grown even wider. I did see the drama, because I've got an equity card. They did say in the equity letter they're going to put in a petition to get their funding back. So if everyone signs that petition, they're going to try and get it through Parliament to get their funding back that was taken off them. Into reverse, Association of School and College Leaders General Secretary Geoff Barton said, it is pretty outrageous that the government has cut funding in real terms to schools and colleges over the past decade, while independent school fees have increased over the same period. The funding gap between two sectors has always been there, of course, but the fact it has widened to such a huge extent does stick in the throat. Surely the government should want the same opportunities for all children and young people. It may be naive to think that education funding can match the independent sector, but it surely shouldn't actually go into reverse funding levels. The Department for Education spokesman said, the government is providing the biggest uplift to school funding in a decade, $14 billion in a total over 3 years, 2022 to 23. This includes a $7.1 billion increase in funding for schools by 2022 to 23 compared to 2019 to 2020 funding levels. Next year, funding for the schools, National Funding Formula, the NFF, is increasing by 2.8% per pupil compared to 2021 to 22. The NFF continues to distribute this fairly based on the needs of schools and their pupil cohorts. There you go, ladies and gents. The inequalities through both state schools and public schools. I did say that there's inequalities concern now, and it has been it's been outlined. It's been outlined. I'm happy about it. I'm happy that I spotted that. Happy that I spotted that before I even read it. I hope you guys acknowledge my characteristics and go, actually, this guy is quite, he knows what he's talking about. He knows what he's talking about when it comes to the sociological world. He knows what he's talking about. We're going to support his show. We're going to actually come in day by day. I'm working hard, you must admit. I'm on morning, I'm on night. It will be slowing down a little bit because I've got some research to do tomorrow for a few hours, but I will be coming back on in the evening. Not unless I get on. No, I will be evening tomorrow. I'm trying to